Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Town Meeting Council meeting. Before we begin this evening, I'd like to invite everyone present to join in a 1 minute silence to remember residents that have recently passed away. And one of those residents is Ron Butcher. Ron's life was an extraordinary service and community spirit. At just 14, he worked on a mine sweeper, climbing on pit mines to defuse them. By 15, he had joined the Merchant Navy, and on his very first mission, he both sunk by a torpedo. Still a child, on D-Day in 1944, Ron found himself off the coast of Normandy, where his ship was struck by mines, just 5 miles from Juno Beach. For his service, he was in the French Legion d'Honneur. After the war, Ron became a loving father to 5 daughters and a symbol figure in Thetford, serving as president of the Thetford branch of Royal British Legion. He remained in character right until the end, and many people know him from him personally or in your work, and he will be greatly missed. And before we start a 1 minute silence, I'd like to hand over to Councillor Stirrup.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair, for those words. To yourself and the town allowing me to speak on this. Councillors, colleagues and members of the public, I want to take a quick moment to acknowledge that many amongst us in this very room are carrying heavy hearts. Throughout the month of August, 3 councillors here lost their mothers, and the entire town of Thetford was rocked with the sudden passing of the Serrano family. The community of Thetford will always do what it does best together in the face of such tragedies, be that with charity football matches, neighbours checking in on neighbours, a call or a text just to make sure someone is okay, and that is what living in Thetford is all about. So I ask you to spare a thought for those councillors in this very room who've lost their loved ones, those who are going through tough times and medical treatments, and the families of the wider community who must move forward after such loss and to offer strength and compassion during these times. I hand back to you, Chair, to call for a minute's silence. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Stewart. And I'd like to ask everyone to kindly observe 1 minute silence. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll continue with the agenda for this evening. Do we have any apologies for absence?
Apologies from Mayor apologies. Adam Mitchell and Viola Rustin.
And now the declaration of pecuniary interests. Thank you very much. And we now move on to the public participation. Questions should be directed to councillors in their role as town councillors only. Matters relating to Breckland and District Council or Norfolk County Council should be raised on the BDC or NCC's own process and not from town council meetings. I now ask, is there any, there is a short time for questions, 15 minutes side of the meeting. Could I ask people to take a maximum of 3 minutes per question to allow the maximum amount of questions to be asked?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. My name is Nathan. Ben Hayden, like I said, and keeping 15 discussing meeting of council, questions, information about him, brass back, thought of what we mentioned in camp, in the new marketplace. Was asked to send some information regarding the size of the camp, what word might put on it, which I did, and on Tuesday, the by saying that they received that message. That's so important at the next environment meeting we held September the 2nd. Checking the agenda of that day, it wasn't on the agenda, so I came down to the council and one of the guys there sent an email to the lady responding to. Unfortunately, up until today, I have not received any information, any cooperation, or any insight as to what they can do to further this request. My brother was one and asked for the British Legion, and that's why I requested money. So could I even use this one sort of help and everyone asked me?
We're very much aware of this request. We have a memorial bench policy that sets out what we can and cannot do. This request is not part of that. So we this time going through the process, where the town clerk worked out how we can do that. The policy will go back to the Community and Environmental Services for amendment, so we can respond. David and I had, if I respond prematurely, I'm giving up this information. So I will send this to us here an update timeline that would happen, but we will as fast as we can the definitive time frame and windows.
Is that asking the question?
Back to that. I did see the email that the city cannot explain it. But that's done yesterday and not been brought up before. It was supposed to be brought up at the meeting. All it is about the plan. Or going a bit further on, put a memorial up cemetery where this that can work, because pure information come on north now, and there's no way to remember the people of the past. So please don't mention what just said.
Thank you.
And we will do our best to make it short the next the next agenda, and we obviously will to attend the meeting to come to that. You. There was a gentleman who was hand up at the back before. No? Mark?
It was just congratulate the town hall council on breaking flag in the town. It looks fantastic. It looks fantastic. The flags really important. I just like to say thank you for the participation in that. The dreams and everything was important. I don't know which questions to ask you because we've all started the questions with this one. Just for you on my council tax this year, the huge contract. That's what we're doing.
So we're going to talk on council tax is a Brecon council issue, and we can't ask to join the next.
Yeah, hey, my friend, can I be playing one time? Council tax, you pay it more levels. I asked you questions, every question is to the town. What, yet again, you stop us from asking out questions because you said.
I'm not stopping you asking questions, I'm stopping you asking questions about Brecon district council policies. It's nothing to do with the town. No, that's in the minutes, but it has to be about town and not about Brecon.
But this is all the time. Thank you very much, time. Give you the time.
We've already had some time, but carry on.
You should put that on.
Can you just answer your question, please, Mark, so that other people can answer their questions?
Constantly done, which I agree with the concept. For some reason, you are saying, can we not say that?
I thought we already had in the context of that question, it's about regular district council and council.
No, not you not allow me to talk. 3 minutes to talk and finish with the question.
Our question,
You stopped it for some reason. I don't know if this is a legal thing, but legal constantly will not let people talk. And it's consent.
Mark, can you answer your question, please?
Mark, ask the question, please. Ask the question. No, not just round here. Ask the question.
I haven't taken any nonsense up. This year, I've got a contract with the private company. Now, some of that money goes to Thetford on the appreciate. But basically, I have not contracted, and what they do is they send all my data to private contractors who've been going out to my house harassing me all year. And then all of a sudden, I got this, it's showing to go to court. Now, it's happened to a couple of us, we turned up at the court, we're not on the court list. So we've been summoned to court, we're not on the court list. So we come home with a liability of the council, which involves the bit of the theft. Now, what's happening is somebody at some level of the council is writing out through summons. The court does not know anything about it, and we're getting liability loans from somebody when they got taken off the books 20 years ago, and the court will be able to tell me about that. So somebody giving liability loans out and summons to the residents of Thetford. So I'm going to go with you, councillors, try and find out what is going on, and let me know who's with my data as a private depot. Who's giving me these true summons because the court's told nothing about it. And who's then writing out an illegal liability for it? Oh, this is harassment, and this is happening all across Thetford. What are the Thetford councillors going to do about it? Yeah.
Council tax is a Brecon issue. If you have a problem with the council tax, please contact Brecon Council and they will be able to answer your question. We have no control over Brecon as a tenant council.
When I see councillors sit here and press for this bubble, one of the councillors will stand up and say to the member of the public, I've heard what you say, I'll get the clerks over, I'm going to approach Brecon with that, and I'll come back with an answer for you the next week, or give me your phone number. Well, that's what your council is here to do. You need to tell us, not just back the problem away and say it's nothing to do with us. I am regulating the fact that or wasn't for the No, we've not the only people looking into this, because this looks like fraud.
You've asked your question, you've had your 3 minutes. Sorry? I have answered the question. So, I'm sorry. When you want to ask the question, you're going to think about ask the question. Other than that, this is in the public. I said it, it's a meeting in public. I'm not talking of, I've asked the question. It's a breaking issue. If you need to have a contact. If someone with Brecon councillors and Brecon District Council, we have no control over Brecon issues.
Sure, this goes to traffic.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else got a question? Sorry, this is the second time, sir, that I've asked you not to talk. Well, in a meeting. So if you continue to disrupt the meeting, I will have to warn you that your behaviour is not acceptable. You can have a voice when you ask the question, sir. And until then, I ask you. I'm never in your audience, sir. You're disrupting the meeting. Not out of procedure. And if you continue that, I will give you an official warning.
Next question.
Next question, please. Give your name, please, sir. Alan.
With affordable houses. And how to find them.
Sorry, I missed that one because sorry. Could you repeat your question, please?
Our council buying homes with affordable housing. And puts in asylum series in.
No, sir, I can categorically say that it not, that the town council does not find property.
This is being liability in this area.
That's not anything to do with the town council, I'm afraid, sir. You need
That's us.
your question was, is the council buying properties to house? We are not buying any properties to house any from any nation, British or overseas.
The answer to your question, no, we don't own any houses in the town. Next question.
Well, also continuation from you say you can't.
I'm sorry, sir, you've asked the question. To ask the question. Is there anything else you'd like to ask?
Got part in here for a year for early words. Okay, now, the last meeting we actually had, well, you skipped 3 months and the other. So in the last meeting, there was a lot of us outside on the steps of funeral. And the mayor's husband, both physically and verbally, assaulted, I think, up there. She didn't do that, for years too.
The banning of the person from this meeting is a police issue. And any issues that happened outside of the last meeting is also a police issue. It is not a town council issue.
Is that 15 minutes?
Okay, thank you. That's the end of the public participation part of the. Sorry, it states 15 minutes. It states 15 minutes. Mark, could you please control your technical or we're going to have to give you a warning as well. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to the same advice. Currently, disruptive news, I'll never keep doing it.
Okay.
Right,
The minute.
we're going to move on to the minutes of the meeting. Thank you very much for the constructive questions that we did get. The next one to me is to confirm the minutes of the full council meeting come up on the 24th of June as a true record and signed and renewed by the mayor. I'm sorry, but you already had it again.
It gets paid?
Apparently we get paid to do that.
Yeah, Brett envelopes, isn't it?
So nobody said, nobody sold the nobody.
That's all he said.
I know what the council does, stay for the council meeting.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your patience. We're carrying with the agenda, please. It's to confirm the minutes of the full council meeting held on July 24. Is there any matters arising from those minutes? Do we agree that's minutes?
Just sorry, you can come on.
Great. Thank you. Move on to the item. Oh, sorry. Every page.
Just sign the front page and the back page, and then we do all the others.
That was the signature. So.
And that bit. You've already changed.
Right, I'm moving on to item 1.125, co-option. To consider applications received for a co-option to Thetford Town Council to resolve to appoint a new councillor to fill the vacancy.
Yeah, conversation. Television.
Okay, can I invite, we've only met with the time on these final for council. To
Liz, can you just stand up and tell us why you want to be co-opted onto this council, please?
I think my application is the same as last year. I feel that the skills, my experience and how to continue to bring that forward and kind of potential. So I hope that I can
has anyone got any questions?
It's not a question, more of a commendation for these days, and specifically your wording then is why do you want to join the town council after what you've just said? And you're still willing, and I'm going to say, I'm not going to apologise, for someone to willingly want to sit through that, I still think at the end of it, actually, this is something I would like to endure for the next however many years, I think is commendable. The same for John Himling, who ran recently. Am I allowed to say something about it?
Yes.
Yes, I personally attest to Liz's hard work and dedication as well. She's known by quite a lot of us, and her hard work is encapsulated. There are many years of hard work in this form, and so personal commendation for this.
Thank you very much. Executive councillors.
You can
Are
come.
there any other questions? Comments? No. And then just Celine to welcome you to the council.
You have to have a vote.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Wow.
Please excuse me, this is the first time in here. I need a vote on second for this, please. Who's going to vote for? Do I record that? Yeah, and a second, please. And next, please. All those in favour? Thank you. And against?
Invite Lucy, Toby.
Thank you very much. And invite you to much at the table. I'm sure it's a very good position to the council. We go on to item 18225. Election for Community Environmental Services and Planning Committee member. It's to agree, Councillor Don Henley, sitting on both committee, environmental and planning committees. The decision is required. The both committees. Is there any questions on them?
Very happy to see that request. John will be a brilliant addition to those committees. I just wanted to check on process. Our standing orders dictate a total of 9 members of committees. If Councillor Henry is joining, does that take us over the 9 for those committees? And if so, does somebody need to come off? Do we need to amend the standing orders? I just want to make sure we make that decision.
I have to come back to you on that. I think there is 8 members and he will be the 9th, but I'm not absolutely 100%. I will come back to you.
The next one. One environmental services. Oh, no, it's 25. Yeah. So if we are then, so that'd be 10. Right, I need to have, is there any comments, questions on it? Need to have a proposal? And a second, please. That's carried. Sorry about that. Oh, yeah. It's carried. And we'll move on to 183/25. And that's the election of Community Environmental Services Chair and Vice Chair.
Yes, so maybe.
It's just the election of the chair and the vice chair. And is there any proposal for the chair?
I have a question for me. I'm really happy with the people who've been nominated for this, because I think it'd be eminently suited for it. But we used to have a system whereby if there was a vacancy, then it would be notified and we would ask for volunteers and it would be dealt with at council. This is, unless I've missed it at the last full council, has gone straight to names on a sheet. Is that the way we continue?
I wasn't aware that you used to do it like that. What I will do is I'll speak to the deputy and understand how it was done before and come back to you on that once I understand how it was done before, because since I've been at this council, this is what I've been told happens. So I need to clarify and I'll come back to you.
Thank you very much. But I'd like to reiterate good candidates and I support them. Thank you.
Karen, what about? Right. So we're going to carry on with the vote. The 2 nominations were for chair is Councillor Evans and vice chair is myself. So we have a proposal for that, please. Councillor Lind. And a second. You recall all these before. Thank you very much. When?
No, you need to have a full vote.
Right, sorry. All those in favour? Are there any against? Unanimous. It's a good practice for next year, isn't it? Right, Item 18425, feedback on any matters from county or district council matters relating to.
Can I just clarify, we were also voting for Viola onto the committee as well?
Until I can clarify how many people are on the committee, I have taken the liberty of taking that off the agenda, and I'll bring it back next time, should there be a space.
Feedback on any matters from county and district councillors, matters relating to Thetford. Do we have any?
It's just a shame that we're such poor councillors that don't get any results, so. Can I do it now?
Sorry, councillor, not after this one, you will come later.
I'm going to stand before the stop. Yeah.
It's not my bad.
Don't worry.
Not my mistake. Town Council, 18525, Town Council representative updates to receive further updates from Town Council representing the council and other bodies.
Sorry, Chair. Just for clarity, item 184 on the agenda is for any county and district councils to provide an update, including those that sit around the table. So if council DB wishes to give an update, they should be allowed to do that.
Councillor Harvey, would you like to give an update?
Thank you so much. That's I forgot what I was going to say. No, seriously, although we have comments how bad we are, I must admit, as a councillor, sometimes we get some great results. 2 or 3 months ago, I reported the state of the zebra crossing down by the library in the bottom of Wells Street. On the way up here this evening, it's done. It's all bright white, and the holes are filled in. So, yet again, another win for our really poor Thetford town councillors. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other councillor reports, district or county? Thank you very much for that. 18525, Town Council representative updates, the verbal updates from Town Council representing the council on other bodies. Councillor Jefferson.
Considering the length of what was said about it, really about just speaking mentioned work on the Charleston Museum, as one of the trustees on that, being also finished on work on organisation, strengthening organisation efforts, and now we've achieved charitable integrated status, which is a big achievement for the trustees with education. We also say that there'll be a steam month for its closing day, and also councillors can recommend it.
Thank you, Councillor Stewart.
Thank you. Can I just really quickly say at the start as well, you're doing a fine job for Kids Okay. You have 30 minutes notice, and this is your first time chairing anything, and it's 4 counts. So you're doing absolutely fine. You've been straight in as a 4 count. I'm going to take 10 minutes to very long agenda just to shout out the Charleston Senator, myself and Councillor Brindle are on board there as the town council reps. It recently celebrated its 10-year anniversary, which is an incredible achievement for a community centre. They had a party, which was a roaring success. The amount of volunteers, there was we put a call out for volunteers so the staff could actually attend and have fun at the party, and the staff still decided to work it so the people could have fun instead. And that's just that just shows the sort of people that the centre has working there. They're incredibly dedicated and incredibly community minded. A shout out to the centre manager Nicola Mellon. She's doing a fantastic job. She's really pushing the centre forward, and it's amazing.
Thank you very much, Councillor Stewart. Is there any other reports?
Thank you, Mayor. I attended the Greater Thetford Partnership meeting on behalf of the Town Council last week. And one of the agenda items which I had asked to be put on there in the previous meeting was the sport provision in Thetford. This was finally put on this meeting, and we had a presentation from Brecon Council, mainly around the Brecon Leisure Centre, events going on there, and also the new 3G pitch and how wonderful the uptake has been there. That is all good, well and good. It didn't really answer the burning question into this, which is the hockey club and the lack of facilities that have been provided to the hockey club. You know, 7 years in the offing of this 3G pitch, and they should have had some wind of provision to be made for the hockey pitch. We're still in a position where Grammar School Academy are potential sites, but nothing seems to be coming forward, and the Poor Hockey Club have to play their games elsewhere. I don't feel I had much satisfaction in meeting at least on the way with flag hockey, and also other sports. We do have a shortage of managed recreation space in Thetford. What was the recreation ground is now fenced for football and 3G pitch. Any open areas that used to be available for recreation up there, sadly is no longer there. I think that we do need to be looking at a holistic one of Thetford's provision. It's all well and good, but these areas on the map or Kingsbury to have something like that extremely here, they will have a mile off time. They do need to be much changed in provision for sport in this town. Is keen on promoting a sports forum. That was mentioned there. So I do need to keep backing this to get it. I also raised the King Street, the latest phase that's going on there. King Street Donald has got concerns about lorries entering the site coming from the roundabout into the town. They will no longer not be able to turn right into the site, so they will have to come all the way through the little mini roundabout and then down to the roundabout to turn around all the way back to enter the site, which means extra construction traffic will be coming into the town. And as many people know, that crossing point there is going to be used by children going to schools or clubs. I understand it's done for safety reasons in terms of Kent Council didn't want lorries causing tailbacks to lock up in 11, but at the same time, it's the effect of suffering this. I don't think we're getting the adjustments for all the suffering that has happened. So there were the 2 points that really came out of there. There was a presentation by the Thetford board chair, Joan Pearson, talking about the 20 million ideas, invited people to submit those ideas, which is bringing us up to speed. There's also an update about the latest in terms of the unitary situation, be it 1, 2 or 3 councils. Decisions made on that, and that probably won't be done until March. Separately, we had a standing board meeting of which I'm the chair, and we looked to get something going in terms of the gardens. We publicly we have received some criticism about the gardens, and justly so. We are looking now to get a garden plan in place, which will then give us a management way of biting by small chunks to get things done. And our vice chair of the board and the clerk were presenting to the Thetford Business Forum this morning to try and raise awareness of this. I think board members would like to see extra public participation in the gardens, because they are a gem, but sadly not the best state at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll come back to this some sports stuff, but Alan.
Just in terms of Kingsbury's parents, we've asked for in Kingsbury, Kingsbury, people from both current people, and so the final details are not in the comments. So that's the second presentation of the 21st of October. Still keen.
Thank you, Alan. And as far on the sport front, probably aware that I'm on the sport subcommittee for the regeneration board or for Thetford board. It is something we're looking at doing. I am having meetings with a variety of sports clubs when I can get in and have the hope that I'll put on next week. It is a matter of what can be done. I won't say more until I read the individual ones, but the vision is that we will get all sports clubs connected in Thetford to become a sport foundation. And then we can children in its own right be able to work for outside funding, therefore address a lot of these issues that we have. It isn't one of the hardest things is getting the sports clubs to engage. But it's something, as you say, I've got a passion for, and we'll get there as soon as we can. Is there any other? I've just got one item, the stag, Save the Thetford Action Group, meets quarterly, and it's 2 weeks before the SNAP meeting, which is a Safe Action Plan. And it's run by the police, it's open to the public, the SNAP is open to the public, and the next meeting will be here at Guildford on the 7th of October at 6:30. Joe Pearson and myself was present at the SNAG meeting to give reports on the work that we've done to both the board and with supporting youth subcommittees, and the work that we're actually doing games to youth of the town, which has been very positive, never been coming up within the agenda. We received an update around work being done to make possible improvements to the CCTV and how it was monitored. There was also an update from Sergeant Charlotte Gardner, who leads the Safe and Neighbourhood team covering antisocial behaviour and street drinking, etc. Along with PC Hilali, I'm going to say the name wrong, who's and a community engagement facilitator champion. Pauline Gillilly runs the police cadets, and they're very open to working within Thetford. There was a strong presence at the meeting. There was a variety of representatives around the table that discussed such matters as these cadets being out and about testing compliance with things like vape regulations, and then we reported also that there's a high number of illegal vapes and cigarettes that have been seized within the town. There was discussion about using partnership radios to enhance work of addressing antisocial behaviour in conjunction with various partners like the library, council, some of the major storeholders that have antisocial behaviour and the police. And we're looking at how we can tie it in with new updates on the CCTV. There was a briefing on various safety initiatives around the town, and it was a very productive meeting. It's shown a number of initiatives involving a variety of partners and the police that will help to make Thetford a better and safer place. That's right.
Just to come back on the about the rooms, CCTV. The last time we talked about CCTV, we were told that Bretland were reducing their funding so that what we were going to get at CCTV wasn't there. Have they changed their mind, or is there other?
It's something that the state group is pursuing, and there may be some help from outside agencies with a bit of funding that would have addressed that issue, and that's one of the issues that needs addressing. Obviously, can't go into all the details because it's a confidential meeting, but we are looking with the stag and with the police to make the CCTV more effective. Thank you. Any other questions? Any other reports? Thank you very much. Again, 18625 for Thetford Neighbourhood Board update. You received a report from me with updates from Thetford neighbourhood board. I assume you all read the report. I don't know when we go through it later, this will be it forever. Is there any questions arising from that? Councillor Evans.
Thank you. Really great to be with and great to hear reports about the work of sport in the town. I guess I would like a bit of reassurance that we're also thinking about provisions outside of sport. Probably of people for whom sport isn't their choice of pastime, so the arts, I guess, and music and that stuff.
Yeah. Obviously, because I'm chairing the sport and youth, I've got more of an insight on what goes on with sport and youth, but we do have a full range of discussion. The minutes are published on the Bretton website and they're open for anyone to read. I can ask specific questions if you have, but it is covering a vast range from education right through to the railway station. The consultation they had 6 themes. We'll try and that right now. Education, heritage,
Health. Wellbeing.
yeah, health and wellbeing, river corridor, the railway station, and it was all in the consultation, the cycling walking routes, and they're all in it, and it's quite a spread. So for me to give a full rundown of everything that goes on because it would be all night. But the bit that I am connected with the youth, I'm very pleased to say that the committee that I'm heading has most of the major players in youth from homeschool to the education sites and parts around the table and trying to set up engagement things with the youth to give the youth a much more positive voice. We envisage that by this time next year there will be a form of a youth forum that will give them a positive voice and we'll be looking, as it is one of the town council's aims, to have a youth council forum type thing. We need to give them a proper voice and a big representation on this council. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I just want to make 2 quick points. So firstly, obviously I sit on the neighbourhood board as the member of parliament and Vic sits on the board as the town council. I would encourage town councillors and members of the public to talk to Vic if they are particularly interested in a specific aspect. I see firsthand, obviously, Vic goes to all the meetings, does an awful lot of prep work, and is putting in an awful lot of time. So, you know, use your representative as best we can. I still think this, you know, we get initiative fatigue in Thetford. We've had various rounds of regeneration funding over the years. I'm still of the view that this 20 million is a huge opportunity for the town. The fact that while it's a significant amount of money, we are one of 75 places across the country that are receiving this. But what makes Thetford unique is that we are getting the exact same money as much larger areas. So places like Harlem are still getting 20 million, and Little Thetford's also getting 20 million. So it's a significant chunk, and it's over a period of 10 years, 2 million roughly a year. That gives us the opportunity to plan, but also to adapt, because situations do change, and we can't do everything at once. There needs to be an element of prioritisation. So often with grant funding, you have to rush and spend it as quickly as you possibly can to meet artificial deadlines. But with this money, it's completely given, and I genuinely think that's exciting. The public consultation that's just finished, they had nearly 1,000 people take part in that, which I think is really exciting. And despite the fact that we've had so many rounds of funding in the past, the public were really quite excited and grasped that opportunity. And having read some of the comments, we've had a sort of early preview of some of the responses, actually really are engaging and embracing
you might not think thousands is many for a town the size of Thetford, but the people that do these consultations regularly tell me that's a really good response in consultations. So again, really optimistic, and I look forward to actually spending some money and getting on there.
Yeah, and I echo that. And we are looking at phasing stuff through. We're looking at some quick wins with some smaller projects, but also we're looking at some of the bigger projects as well. And it's going to be, we're not going to get all we want. Heritage here, heritage here, but everything will be spent in Thetford for Thetford, hence the name of the board, for Thetford. Councillor.
Thank you, Chair. I'm delighted to see the diversity that's in this and the different topics you're talking about. One of the biggest fears we've had always is that the 20 million will be all thrown at one show pony of a project, and we know that that's not really what we're after. And even the consultation of so many topics was a good start, I think, and I do hope that it continues in this vein. And thank you.
Thank you. And I do assure you that I do hold me own at the meeting. So, right, thank you. That's just for notes, isn't it? Thank you. Mayor's report. Is there has anybody got any questions on the mayor's report? I'll just add to it that the month that Carla was actually away on holiday with her family, I thoroughly enjoyed attending most of the events. Not all were pleasant, but I've got to say I did enjoy it. And the highlight of it was attending the Anglia in Blue when we won gold. And Clark's report. Give me a rest.
Mr. Chair. As you know, my report gives you an update on the key projects that we're working on from the council, and it works alongside the Realising Thetford Potential strategy.
With my
Haven't finished yet. It also works alongside our Heritage Master Plan, and it outlines work on environmental initiatives that we're working on, such as the Pocket Park and the rainwater harvesting. Finish now.
Thank you very much. Is there any questions on the report? Councillor Land.
Thank you very much, Chair. Not a question, a comment. Very briefly, thanks very much for the report. It's significant great work we do as a council, and thanks for all the local officers involved in making sure that report can be moved forward.
Thank you very much. Is there any other questions, comments on that report? Yeah, that's just a note. And that's just a note. 18925 and to review actions carried forward from previous meetings. Again.
As you can see, this is just an update from every time you make a resolution, we have a list. Sorry about the colour coding, but it's who it's assigned to. And as you can see, most of the work is being done. There's a couple of earlier projects that we're trying to get to the bottom of, but we are steadily working through, and the list is getting shorter every time we come to council. So that's a good positive sign.
Thank you. Is there any questions on that? Yeah, thank you very much. 19025 financial report for the first quarter ending 30th of June 2025. That's to receive and discuss the financial report for the quarter ending the 30th of June, as well as monthly bank reconciliations for the quarter ending the 30th of June. And the decision is required to approve the financial report. That's Chairman.
Thank you, Chair. Very pleased to see this report. Particularly want to comment because of some misleading articles that appeared in the Eastern Daily Press
If you look at the item on section 2, you can see that in the first quarter of the year, town council was underspent by almost £13,000. That suggests to me prudent financial management and judgment work by the officers. So thank you very much.
Good. Is there any other comments or questions on the report? So we need to have a vote to accept them. Could I have someone propose accepting the report? Is that proposal or question? Could I have someone second it? Councillor Wood, thank you very much. Yeah, all those in favour? Thank you very much. It's unanimous. And move on to the next one, thank you. 19125, and it's on travel proofing land to receive a report on the costs incurred in removing unauthorised encampments from Thetford Town Council owned land and over the past 3 years, and to agree staff preparing an options appraisal relating to measures to secure land against future incursions. Councillor Stewart, I believe that's who was.
Yeah, thank you. Also a very big shout out, thank you to the staff. Appreciate it. With steel bars. Thetford Common was the perfect home for our recent V80 party. It was the perfect green space that the council cultivates into an open community event space. The fun fair regularly uses it. It's a beautiful spot so close to the river. However, it's becoming much more apparent that the space is repeatedly being used for encampments and over the past 3 years that the town council's incurred costs due to these encampments, including the cleanup, enforcement, and office. In the financial year 2024-2025, it cost the taxpayer over £7,000. 6 months into 2025, it's already cost £14,000. I believe there's a net in order to protect this green space and manage financial resources. I do want to stress any action that we take, if this is something the officers could take away, we'll discuss it in fact, was that taking a natural environment thought process at the same time, and also in liaison with the regular authorised users of the green space. May I ask the officers to prepare an options appraisal for securing Lower Melford Common, and then ask them to bring back a funding route for the 2026-27 budget. Thank you.
Any questions?
Any questions? Councillor MacDonald.
I'm absolutely delighted to see this on the agenda. It was raised at one of our previous meetings on the 2nd of September. I'm slightly disappointed I wasn't involved because I've done quite a bit of work before mentioning it at council. So, but I'm really pleased that we've acted so quickly to do this. The amount of money that we've lost over many years, we've only been looking at the last couple, is ridiculous. The most important thing about this is once it's enacted, it will not stop everybody coming in. And I think we all ought to remember that if we think it's failed. It hasn't. If we make it harder, that's the most important thing, because that community will look for the easy options. So I think it's great. It's going to be an expense, but it will save us in the long run. Thank you.
Any questions or comments? We have to agree one, so do we have someone? Councillor Stewart. And do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Jefferson. Any vote in favour? Any against? Okay, unanimous. Thank you very much. 19225, public participation policy. To receive and approve the public participation policy. I'll put it down as a clerk.
This paper was brought to you a year ago. It's due to be looked at again. We look at it every year to make sure that we don't want to make any changes. There haven't been any changes this year. So over to any questions.
Councillor Land.
Question but a statement, really. I think it's the actual system.
Any other comments, questions, councillor? Chairman?
Yeah, thank you. I think it needs to be pointed out, we are not legally required to provide a public forum. Many councils do not, including Norfolk County Council, Brecon Council and many others. But I absolutely think we should be providing a public forum at Thetford Town Council for people to ask questions related to our work. Openness and transparency is absolutely key, but we need to have a policy to ensure that it's fair and accessible for everybody. Really pleased that we introduced this policy last year and it continues to be robustly enforced.
Thank you very much. Councillor Stewart?
Yeah, if I can just add on to that as well. Slightly echoing this has got improved where needed, so thank you so much. Yes. As Councillor Jeremy just said, we don't have to, but we do because we care about what the people of Thetford have to say. This is not an attempt to stifle anyone's speech, or you can come and ask questions. I do not go into booths and ask questions about Asda. It is the same for this council. We have the correct routes to ask questions to the correct authority. We have not been asking questions like this about Thetford Town Council business, private police matters and Brecon Council matters. We have Brecon councillors or Brecon council emails who have not been contacted. So we have the corrections in place. I really want to shout out and thank the clerk and whoever worked on her a year ago, and the constant renewal of this is for the protection and the safety of the councillors and the members of the public.
Thank you. Councillor Jefferson?
Thanks. Yeah, I was just in the point and say, we have seen things we might say rather than you have a policy, regulate yourself, and it's very important to have avenues to think we can raise issues because we all want to do the best what's there, and we're here to do the best what's happening. This is in touch with the we can have when we can secure the bridge. So I mean, we have documents being open in spite of changes.
Thank you, Councillor Jefferson. Is there any other comments? Proposer for this? Councillor MacDonald, seconder. Councillor Hemblin, thank you very much. All those in favour? Thank you very much. Passed unanimously. Item 10325, creating a new Thetford and Heritage and Educational Trust to consider and agree the new trust being set up for the heritage and other sites in Thetford. We have to agree. And that is again, Councillor Jeremy, please.
Thank you. Firstly, can I thank the clerk, the deputy clerk and the Stanford clerk for helping to produce this report. Hopefully members will agree it's a fairly detailed report which really looks into the different options that are available. So I'm hoping there's lots of information in there that people will be able to digest. I think if you sit around this table, your default position is actually you're really proud of Thetford to serve as the town councillor. We accept that we live in a great place, and one of the things I've always felt that Thetford really does well is heritage. One of the problems is we always have too much heritage. It's like, what do we focus on, frankly? Do we focus on the amazing Thomas Paine aspect, or the Jazz Army aspect, or the Julian Singh, or the Charles Burrell? Or do we look at the architecture and looking around the room, you can see various aspects of Thetford's heritage. And we've always struggled to really focus on one particular aspect. And people have been competing for different pots of money and different volunteers. And I think there's been a sort of frustration that we've not been able to make more of our heritage over the last several decades. What this proposal is about is actually bringing many aspects of Thetford's heritage together under one organisation. We as a town council already own the Guildhall, the Carnegie, we already own the Shambles or Legion building, through Stanford Trust, we own that building. But the Ancient House Museum, the Charles Burrell Museum is Breckland, and so many other heritage aspects are not to do with the town council. And also because we're a town council, we've not been able to access so many popular funding, particularly lottery funding and government grants, because they're just not eligible for town council or any parish town council to apply. If it was operated for a charity model, we would be eligible. And also there's financial benefits for operating under a charity model in relation to business rates and climate change levy and so forth. So this proposal is about not transferring, I think it makes clear, not transferring the freehold of any town council assets. They will stay with Thetford Town Council to safeguard for future generations. This is about the operation of those heritage assets, to take them forward collectively under one banner, give them a real critical mass. So we're not just promoting one aspect. If you come to Thetford for a day out, you can actually enjoy all different aspects of Thetford's heritage, and we're promoting it collectively rather than individually. So there's a number of recommendations grouped together, all under the same principle. There's been a bit of debate as to whether we call it the Thetford Heritage Trust or the Thetford Heritage Education Trust, THET. So you may want to take a vote, Chair, on either of those options to see which one is preferred. Actually, this is genuinely exciting. I'm very excited about this proposal and a number of proposals on the agenda this evening. This is about making some bold decisions to help unlock Thetford's potential. And one of the best things that we've got going for us is our heritage. And it's about, we embrace that and support that. And I'm really proud that the Town Council has been leading much of the conversation on heritage.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kelly. Is there any questions? Councillor McDonald.
Yeah, again, this is one of those items that I'm delighted to see on our agenda. We do have so much history and we do need to capture it. I was recently challenged at a residents' meeting about the cost that the council had incurred of the cupola and the details of that cost. And what it really boiled down to was somebody trying to find a misuse of taxpayers' money. And of course, that had been ably answered with all the lottery funding and the rest of it that we've done. And it was done at a very good cost in the end. What I would say is, with things like this, there is an awful lot of money tied into it. So we will now be open to a lot more questions and potential criticism for those. So I think as long as we're aware of it and we're prepared for it and get ahead of it, it'll be great. It'll be a great thing to do. But please be aware of that, because, the 200,000 for Charles Borrell Museum painting, the place has looked a dump since I've lived here, to be frank, and I'm surprised it hasn't fallen down before now. The problem will, and it's highlighted in here, is that people may think that we will fix it tomorrow. And of course that can't happen. So really delighted. We just need to be very careful on our messaging to the public when we do this. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yes, we touched upon this a few years back, and I think one of the no-nos was the transfer of the freeholds, and I'm glad to see that that still resides with the Town Council and should do so. When a trust is put in place to run buildings like this, there is an enormous amount of admin that goes as part of it. And I think we need to be aware of those costs that we do, and whether the capacity will be there to get the grants and to project manage the things. I don't think we need to go into it thinking it's all going to be solved by this. We do need to be in the long haul. Grants take a while to find them first, and then to apply for them, and then find if you're eligible for them. It is a long haul, and if we are going this route, then we need to be supportive of that new trust, and give it the support that it will need. Because if it's going to stand alone, then it will need the support of this Town Council, albeit a separate organisation. Thank you.
For those of us who were on Stanyforth, I believe, did something semi-similar not that long ago. Didn't really understand much of that. I'm not going to lie, this is very heavy for us councillors who don't know this side of things. So I do appreciate the time and effort. I believe the Stanleyforth Trust Clerks also helped in this as well, so a shout out to Hillary. So for me, the best way I can do is sort of dumbing down out of this, which is the cost aspect of it, what it's going to save the council, and what it's going to save the taxpayer in the long run. And I think that's what Councillor MacDonald and Councillor Wright have stressed now. It's not an immediate fix, and it won't be. It's worth it for those reasons, and the funding opportunities that it's going to bring in versus what we can get now as a council versus what we can get as a heritage trust and charity. It's worth its weight, but it is going to be a long run. It's going to be hard work. We're going to have to implement a board who really wants to push this forward. For me, incredibly important, but for me, as a result of this aspect of it, that the cost alone makes it worth it.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? I've just got one comment to add myself. I agree with everything was said at the table. It is a little bit, type on sort of things. Excuse me, my nails. But we're not going to get that money as a town council, and to have a proper effect on the heritage of this town, we have to look at ways that we are likely to get that money. And as a trust, charitable trust, it will save us money, rates and add-ons from there. But B, it gives us a much better opportunity to go out and get funding from heritage lobby. It's similar to what I said with the sports. If you've got a charitable sports foundation or education foundation, you can get it as a charity that you wouldn't get as a council. So I think, yes, it is a long-term thing, and it is something that we are going to have to work really hard at. But in my opinion, I think it's a no-brainer. It is going to attract a lot more money than we could ever attract as a council. And they have to have some vote. Councillor Jeremy.
Okay, I just wanted to respond on the cost point, because I absolutely am aware of those comments. We have spent a lot of money as Thetford Town Council repairing the Guildhall in the last year or two. Absolutely. And I've heard those challenges from members of the public as well. I mean, I think we've probably got about £200,000 now that we've spent on the Guildhall alone. What I would say is actually this building has stood here for hundreds of years. It's probably high time that the council spent that sort of money looking after it, because this is one of the most flagship buildings. The word iconic is overused in today's society, but this is one of the iconic buildings in Thetford. And trust me, if we didn't spend money repairing this building and something awful happened to it, we really would get a lot of comments from a lot of people. So as much as I don't like spending that sort of money and I get nervous, actually we don't have a choice. We have been entrusted to look after the heritage of this town, and we have to look after it, and it's expensive for listed buildings, for towers and scaffolding and all the rest of it. In the same way that we, many years ago, and Councillor Wright and I are the two surviving members back in 2008, when we voted to take on St Peter's Church for £1. If only they would have cost that much. It's cost us a lot of money just to safeguard that building. But again, if that falls into disrepair, like St Mary the Best and Mary Road, I don't think the public would be very forgiving either. It's unfortunately left to us to do this. But I think overall we need to safeguard our heritage. The other one is on cost of setting up the trust. Many councils look at alternative delivery methods, governance structures, largely to save cost. They give things away to charities, libraries, museums, all sorts of things. What I'm quite excited about this proposal, and I've been really clear with officers in my conversations, this isn't about saving money. I suspect, and we haven't had the exact figure yet because everything's merged into the overall town council budget, for the Guildhall and Carnegie complex alone, it probably costs this council £200,000 a year to run. It loses money significantly. Operationally, if you don't get the higher fees, if you don't get the income from the bar, that is a lot of money falling on taxpayers in Thetford. This proposal was about making that offer better, providing better services, more
events, activities, bringing in outside money, outside knowledge and skills. But crucially, we're not doing this to save money. Yes, I would like it to make even more, and I would like to try and save some money over time, but that's not the motivation for doing it. So it will cost us money on an ongoing basis, but we've got to move towards a model where it's not causing taxpayers such a huge cost over time. We can do better than the status quo.
Number of recommendations, what we'll go through them one by one. Okay, right, there's a number of recommendations. I'll go through them one by one. Yeah, firstly, to agree to establish a limited charity or a CLG where the trustees are members. Do we have votes for that? Councillor Jeremy, do we have a seconder? Councillor Harvey, sorry. Second one is, oh yeah, all those in favour? Sorry. Yeah, that now. The new CLG will be called either the Thetford Heritage Trust or the Thetford Heritage and Education Trust. Can you have a vote on the preferred option, please?
Tell them what option first.
Option 1, Thetford Heritage Trust. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And option 2, Heritage and Education, 5. And I can vote, but it doesn't matter because it's lost. It will then be called the Thetford Heritage Trust. Maybe we should spoke about that. Number 3, agree the transfer of operations of the Guildhall and Carnegie Complex to the new CLG as soon as practical via a fully repairing lease agreement. Heads of terms to be revealed and determined by corporate services. Opposed, Councillor Land, seconded, Councillor Wood. All those in favour? Any against? Carried. And number 4, to seek nominations for 3 Thetford Town Council trustee members of the new company by limit charity by limit guarantee and delegate the authority to 3 trustee members to determine the charitable objectives other than necessary decisions to enable creation of the organisation.
I'd like to propose myself, Councillor Land as Chair of Corporate Services and Councillor Honeyman as Chair of the Heritage and Events Committee.
Are there any other nominations? Do we have anyone to propose them? Councillor Stewart, seconded. Councillor Hamden. Sorry, I won't be used to that terrible names. All those in favour? Is there any against? Okay, that's carried. Thank you very much. To begin the recruitment for the 3 co-opted members of the Charity by Limited Guarantee via public advertisement, their appointment will be determined by a recruitment panel, which consists of the 3 trustee members and a small group of representatives from the council. Any comments? Do we have anyone to oppose that?
Question as well, sorry, it's in touch.
Question.
I'm happy to propose. Do we have to choose who the other panel members will be, or we just now? We can just leave it at that. Then yeah, happy to propose.
Okay, proposed. Yes, Gibson, seconded.
No, can I have a question?
Sorry.
Question, right? Or whatever, which one? Great, thank you. For the other members, I would like, if possible, to consider independent members of here.
I think that's what the proposal is.
To say 3 other people.
In order to access grant funding, I think it's detailed in the report,
the new CLG needs to demonstrate that it's not effectively a subcommittee of the council. So having too many councillors on it, certainly if there was a majority of councillors, it would be in fact a subcommittee of the council. It needs to demonstrate its independence. So the proposal is there will be only 3 council members, and those other members will be members of the community. They could be arts and cultural organisations, heritage organisations, could be local businesses that want to donate their time and skills to support the charity. But it will be publicly advertised and open for all to apply.
Can I just add to that, that I think that we need to be looking at lawyers, we need to be looking at people who know about charities, and we need to be looking at maybe someone who knows about construction and building, just as an outset, because we don't have that knowledge within the council.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Everyone clear on what we're voting on? Okay, time is always proposed. Councillor Jefferson, seconded. Councillor Wood. All those in favour? Any against? Thank you. To agree that officers produce a report for corporate services detailing set-up costs. Any questions? Do we have a proposal for that one? Councillor Jeremy, seconded Councillor Land. Thank you. And finally, to seek, sorry, I know those in favour. Bruce leg by the time I finished it. To seek financial support for the creation of the company vulnerability guarantee and initial capacity support developing Thetford heritage assets from the Thetford Neighbourhood Board. Any questions or comments? And we have a proposer for that. Councillor Blackmore, David Blackmore, and a seconder. Councillor Land. All those in favour? Okay, any against? Okay, that's carried. Thank you very much for your patience with me. Right, 19425, the Ancient House and Charles Burrell Museum, to receive a report regarding the transfer of ownership of both the Ancient House and the Charles Burrell Museum from Breckland Council to Thetford Town Council. Blackburn, please.
Thank you. Yeah, I think I know everybody's read the report already and following on from the previous item. I think it would be really important for Thetford Town Council to take over the freehold of these 2 museums. Again, represents a major opportunity for Thetford Town Council to strengthen its role in the stewardship of Thetford's heritage. The Ancient House Museum and the Charles Burrell Museum are important parts of Thetford's heritage, and they're ideally suited with St Peter's Church ongoing project to form a heritage board of Thetford to attract visitors to the town. With regards to the risk in taking over the Charles Burrell Museum building, I understand what everybody says. I understand it doesn't look great, it hasn't looked great for a long time. It's run purely by volunteers and trustees. I believe that the trustees in the past lacked effective management and governance, and therefore the building has not been maintained as it should be. Over the last year, with the new chair of trustees, there's been an improvement in the way the museum is run. Small grants have been obtained to move forward with training and becoming a charitable incorporated organisation. it should help attract more trustees to move forward and the museum will then become fair. So although I think at the moment it looks like a risk and it is going to take a lot of money to, I think painting it is the least of the worries. It's the structural survey that's been done, and there's a lot of work because it has been neglected over years. And again, like in the previous item, if money needs to be spent on Guildhall to bring it up to how it should be. Charlesborough, although it's quite an ugly building, and I take that, but it is an important building in Thetford's industrial heritage. So along with the ancient house, which I think nobody would dispute would be a great asset for the town council. I think that both of these needs to be taken over or be transferred ownership from Brecon District Council to the town council.
Any questions on it?
Yeah, and the, is setting out even the organisation and structure. I think it's obviously, taking on something to do with guarantee risk, but at the same time, the big risk is not. And so I think there's a council to go. I think this item heritage. Probably heritage. Really pleased to see that we are bidding forward, and trying to look at the which is what we should be doing. So I'm very glad to see this, even in my head, it's a lot of food with the bottle of also.
Yes. Sorry, just a quick point. How are we going to be guarded from protecting the H&S Museum, the damage being done to it by the old King's Head Park? If we take it over.
I mean, at the moment, all the King's Head pub is that Brecon are addressing the issue with the owner, and they are looking at ways to claw back some of the costs that there is involved. I don't have any update. Is there a way that we can?
I can speak to Brecon and ask him that question, but as far as I'm aware, they are working with the owner and there are things working in the background.
I'll just come back a minute. Is this to do with the damage that's coming through the walls between the King's Head and the Park Museum?
Yeah, you are wrong. Again, I don't know. We'll look at getting some answers from Brecon and we might be able to update this.
With regards to the King's Head Park, I've got a meeting, I think it's the 24th of October, with Sarah Sutton from District Council and also someone planning from there to come and have a look at the King's Head and see how things can be moved on. It was part of something I brought up at the council about pubs that are neglected in Thetford. So they are going to come to meet me and have a look. And all I know is things are happening behind the scenes to the building.
Could I just ask that when you get somebody new come back to the council with some sort of report, because obviously with it going on in the background, we don't have any knowledge, but something making that work for us.
Yeah.
Obviously we all want to see the King's Head addressed. It's an eyesore, and the sooner it gets done, the better. But obviously that's Breckland, Councillor Lark.
Thank you. I think, overall, we know if you take on buildings, you have a risk of whatever may come in the future. But the ancient house was given to the town, set up to the charity. Breckland took over that corporate trustee role when they came into being on the demise of Thetford Borough Council in 1974. So it would seem that the demise of Brethren and the success goes back to being a trustee for that building, which is so important to the people of Thetford. The Charles Burrell Museum is a full repairing lease to the trustees, but Breckland haven't really given the support that they should have done as the owner, and it's difficult, as we've talked about earlier, of getting funding if you're not in your ownership. So if it did come to Thetford Town Council, then yes, we would be in a position to own it and go for funding to hopefully resolve the repair issues that have been nagging for many years now. We did have the money promised at one point, and then we got diverted to the roundabout to nowhere. But we are in a position where we probably need to take it on and accept the risk in order to get the opportunity to get that funding and get it sorted.
Thanks a lot. I don't get into that. We can't do a worse job than what Breckland have done with. So I need to have a proposer. It's different ones, isn't it? To approve in principle the exploration of governance change for the Asian House, and as a sole corporate trustee, including but not limited to transfer of corporate trusteeship to Thetford Town Council, and to separately or all together to approve in principle the exploration of the freehold transfer of Charles Burrell Museum to Thetford Town Council, and detail its terms and risks to return to full council, to give delegated authority to the town clerk and two other councillors to negotiate detailed items for the transfer of Breckland's District Council, to obtain specialist charity law advice, and to bring the report back to council should any changes occur during the process. The only thing I think is there is we've got two councillors.
We have.
So,
If you agree with them first and then ask for the council.
right, so can we first agree, can I have a proposal to accept that? Councillor David Blackburn, and a seconder, please, and Councillor Annie Blackburn. And then we've got to find all those in favour first. I'm going to skip that. And to carry, and we need to find two councillors. Two other councillors to negotiate the detailed terms of transfer from Breckland District Council. Is there any nominations? If you want to,
Can I suggest that any councillors must be aware that if they volunteer for this, most of the meetings have got to be taken during the day because it's hard to get Breckland to work in the evening.
To repeat, could I propose Chair Councillor Annie Blackburn and Councillor Terry Lennox, please?
is there any nominations? Okay, proposal, I'm assuming is Councillor Jeremy. Second is, and I just ask, are you both willing to take that on?
That would very help.
Okay. I thought I'd have to check because, you know. Okay, all those in favour? Thank you very much. Item 19525, get through this tonight. Item 19525, to receive business plan medium-term financial forecast, to receive and approve business plan that was presented to corporate services on the 22nd of July. Town clerk to present.
Those of you on corporate services will be aware this came to corporate services earlier in the year, and they've agreed it and they've put it up to full council to get full agreement.
Any questions? Do we have someone to propose that? Is it proposing? Yeah. Councillor Land, second then. Wood. In favour? Thank you very much. One 19625, yeah. Agreement to list suggested land assets from Breckland District Council to Thetford Town Council To consider a list of asset transfers of land from Breckland Council to the District Council. That's when before we have the new announcement of the authority. Try to follow around. Is there any questions on that report? Councillor Land.
Question, I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, sorry, I'm this.
Only following that. To the previous agenda items, I think the unitary system within Norfolk provides Thetford Town Council with some real opportunities if we are bold enough to take them. Residents often complain to me with some justification that Thetford is just a blip on the map of Breckland and County Councils. No one really knows into view where yet more new houses are required. The two councils provide stewardship of public assets has been marked by an indifference to the needs of Thetford residents. For example, Thetford Town Council has taken on toilets, and frankly, you know, much better. In the 2023 documents unlocking Thetford's potential, it names our river corridor as the jewel in Thetford's crown. Many of these pieces of land are joined by coastal river stead and volumes, meaning it could be said we have an obligation to take on these parcels of land. I would recommend this proposal to council. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Land. Do we have any questions? Councillor Donald.
I do have a comment. I'm not by nature a cautious person, and all of this land, particularly those which are land corridors that link one place to another, I think are vital for Thetford to carry on developing. However, there is a huge amount of cost associated to those pieces of land. I hate being sounding like this stuck record, because I say I'm not cautious, but one of the main things we talk about in other meetings is the cost that we have to pay for maintenance of land. This small town council has large amounts of land that it already looks after. It's been a conundrum for us for many years. By putting animals on it, fencing it, cutting it, that cost will only increase with these. Whilst I welcome it, we must have a solid plan for how we're going to achieve that. Because otherwise, we're going to be trying to maintain stuff that we simply cannot afford. So, great, I support it, but with the word of caution.
Can I take one from Councillor Wright first? And
Thank you. I echo Councillor MacDonald's concerns, but I also think it's the right thing to do because we know those that have been here long enough that we took on playgrounds, we took on toilets, as Councillor Land has indicated, and Councillor Jeremy sat beside me in many of those discussions. Did we want the ongoing cost of them? Because quite clearly the settlement that we got from Breckland was never going to be enough, but it did allow us to get a better service to the people of Thetford. By taking it in-house, and we are more reactive. The team there, I think, always seems to be able to react to something quite short term and give a better service to Thetford. It does come at a cost, as Councillor MacDonald has said, and if we do take this on, then we need to be mindful of that cost and communicate it to the people of Thetford about why we've taken that decision to take on an extra cost, which they will only see as an increase in precept. The demise of Breckland Council means that the unitary is going to take all the big numbers and well, parishes and towns will pick up little bits and pieces if they want a good service. So I think it's a no-brainer. We've got to take it on, but at the same time, we've got to get our story straight so that we communicate with the people of Thetford why we're doing it and at what cost it will come.
Thank you very much, Councillor Land. No, that's fine. Okay. Any other questions? Councillor Chairman.
Yeah, can I take a moment to say how appropriate it is that Councillor Land presented this proposal? Also, the Breckland closing down site continues to present a number of opportunities. I do completely understand the points that other councillors have made about cost. If we're sitting here in a few months' time and the response from Brecon is you can have all of this land, but we're not going to give you any community sums, I'm maybe a bit nervous and I may vote differently because I don't think we would have the capacity to take everything on that list. I don't think we would be able to afford it. I see this as a bit of a punt. We don't know what they're willing at this point to transfer down to the town council. They may say no to all of it. They may say you can choose to go through the list. But the general principle, and it has been the same in the time that I've been here as a councillor, is where we have taken things on, in some cases we've been forced to take them on. I remember a conversation about public toilets where Brecon said you take them on or they'll be closed. We were not given a choice as the town council. But when we have taken things on, I do think we have provided a better service. Most of our staff live in the town, they work for the council, they care passionately about providing a good service. Councillors here are more reactive as they live in the community. If this land is managed by what will probably be a new West Norfolk Council, headquarters to be determined, but it probably won't be dearer. In all likelihood, it will be King's Lynn, it will be further away, it will be more remote. We would have less control as audience as to what we want to do with that space. So let's have a look, see what they're willing to part with, see if there's any community funds. Most of that land on the list on Cloverfields, I remember Cloverfields was built, the developers did give some community funds to Brecon. Is that still available? Is it not? I have no idea. But let's look at the art of the possible, and we will have to have a very realistic conversation about cost, depending on the response is.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kelly. Any other questions? Proposal is that to agree to the list as per the report. Do we agree to the list, or would you propose to agree to that? Councillor Lamb, do we have a second one? Councillor, McDonald. Call you next one. Councillor McDonald. All those in favour? Thank you very much. It's carried. One 9725, the painting of stencils to help tackle antisocial behaviour. You will have seen in the report. What it's been agreed to receive and approve the report on the proposal. So stencils to be painted in areas of Thetford to prevent antisocial behaviour. Clark.
Brecon District Council and the police have asked Thetford Town Council to support a pilot scheme using temporary pavement stenciling to try and deter ASB outside certain King Street and Riverside premises. The work would be carried out and funded by the community wardens, subject to highways consent, and would run as a 6-month trial.
I've got one question from Councillor Stirrup.
Thank you. And I thought maybe something I'm quite passionate, you can be passionate about social behaviour. I've asked for it to be on the agenda a few times for debate, like some sort of back as well, and some Councillor McDonald as well, with Stag. This is something that's really important. In my opinion, this is legalised graffiti. I find it atrocious, and I'm awfully sorry if others agree. It is. Not that I've ever decided to have antisocial behaviour tendencies, but a spray painted stencil on the floor is not going to make me change my mind. And it's great, and I'm really glad that the community alcohol partnerships like it. That's fantastic. I think it's terrible, and we should be looking at police matters and early intervention and support we can get for the youth of today, to not set them down the sort of paths where this is okay. Not by stenciling something on the floor, which is going to be walked over and blurred in the space of about 3 weeks. I mean, it says the main risk relates to visual impact. It's only potential vandalism is going to be drawn, and the possibility of limited effect. These are mitigated by using a discrete, non-permanent material, and it's going to be reviewed after 6 months. It won't be there. It won't be there in 6 weeks. I'd be surprised if it lasts 6 days. I think it to me it is an absolute token gesture that authorities are coming up. And I don't fantastic. It's a token gesture that's being done, so they can say, well, we're trying. You're not trying hard enough and you're not trying in the right areas. So I think it's made my opinion pretty clear on it.
Thank you very much. Any other, Councillor McDonald?
I disagree. I disagree slightly. The reason I disagree with Councillor Stirrup on this is because these kind of issues are multi-layered. And like the onion, you've got to use every one of those layers to make the whole. Now, one of them isn't going to fix it, and certainly graffiti stencils on the ground won't be the whole answer. But it's part of it. It's done in partnership with the community wardens, which we as a council have supported massively because they've had such an impact here. The amount of work they do, which is often unseen, you know, by that local engagement, that sideways conversation, which of course used to be done by PCSOs, is invaluable. Now, it's their feedback that suggested that this is a useful thing to do here. I would like to support them because they have worked so hard and are so engaged with our community. If it doesn't work, there are items that can be removed. In other places, they do this with jet washing. So they have a stencil, jet wash it on, and that's even shorter lived. But they're not permanent and they can be taken off. So I think that any initiative is worth a go. And we can always undo something. It's not set in stone, pardon my pun.
Councillor Land.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As I'm certain agents are fast to sit on the fence here, I do see sort of with regards to still having done a lot of health and safety work in the past, the item of changing the name that has least effect signage. However, I do accept Councillor Donald's explanation. I think it's absolutely right that we give it a go, but I would insist on serious monitoring at the end of the trial area to see what effect it's had.
Any other questions? Councillor Wright.
Yes, Councillor Stirrup seems to be, it's a easy way to get into graffiti and giving. We spend so much time trying to get rid of graffiti, and then I just think there was a similar project that we talked about, spraying yellow paint around water courses on there, which never came to fruition, thank goodness. I just think if we want to get them involved with doing some kind of art mural, something like that, get them on some temporary boards and put up in the close down shops in the town. There's a way of doing this, but I don't think putting graffiti on the ground is the right way to do it.
Any other? Oh, I've got to. Right. The decision is to approve or not the recommendations in the report. So could I have someone vote in favour of, to propose in favour of? Councillor McDonald. And is there a second? Councillor Wood. Evidence, sorry. Didn't even move. Yes, Bruce is tomorrow. All those in favour? All those against? It's carried 6-5.
It's carried
Carried
6-5
6-5.
in favour.
Get out. Who are the six?
Okay. Item 19825, to the judicial review for the Abbey regeneration, to receive and consider a report regarding future judicial review into the Abbey regeneration decision. Councillor Jeremy.
Can I just, I'm really sorry, the numbers don't add up. So if we haven't reached a full, so can we have a vote for people who abstained as well?
Okay, yeah.
So I can.
Any abstentions? 3.
There you go.
Thank you.
We do now. Thank you.
Matt didn't like the result.
I'm not an election denier.
Moving on, because I'm mindful of the time. Judicial review, councillor Jeremy, please.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. We debated the proposals in relation to the Abbey Estate Town Council Planning Committee meeting, I think, on 2 occasions. And we've been quite clear as a planning committee that we object to that application. It's now progressed to a point where we decided one way or the other, Brecon Council's Planning Committee on the 16th of October. This is probably one of the most, if not the most significant application for the town in the last decade. It's going to add, if approved, over the next 10 to 20 years, something like 400 extra homes onto the existing footprint of the Abbey Estate. We'll go from 1,000 homes to 1,400 homes, a significant increase in population. Of particular concern is that one of the initial requirements of the plan was that there's a memorandum of understanding between Brecon, Norfolk and Flagship that basically says there'll be no Section 106 contributions charged. That's a big population increase without any money forthcoming for schools, doctors, dentists, you name it. So this will impact the wider town of Thetford, but it will also particularly impact that community that will grow extra homes, extra people, lots of green spaces taken up, and a significant number of homes, even though they're owned outright with a mortgage, they will be compulsory purchase. So there's an awful lot of concern. There's not a huge amount we can do as a town council. We are not an authority, the way we have objected as our own town council planning committee. We may have to consider, if the application is approved, to look at a judicial review. That's one of the last legal options available to us. The recommendation is that we ask officers to look at this to see if it is a viable proposal, to see what the costs are, because that's important. Judicial reviews are expensive. It may be that it's not worth pursuing on cost ground, or because ultimately it won't change the result. It just, even if it was successful, it would alter the result. The decision is looked at again, and there'll be a fresh planning meeting and a fresh a new process to go through. So the recommendation is to look at the costs and present a report back to full council. The reason it's here now, before the planning meeting happens on the 16th of October, is that once the decision is made, you only have 6 weeks to lodge the judicial review. We don't have a full council meeting scheduled in October. Our next full council is in November, I believe, the last Tuesday of November. And obviously, there'll be a degree of work involved in looking at this, which is why it's here today and why the recommendation is worded as it is. Thank you.
Any questions, any comments? Councillor Willand.
Thank you very much. Given the amount of work done on this state in the past, I'm surprised to hear agree with this proposal. I thought what you don't mind is of the Abbey Estate. I think we need to continue doing so. This is an awful application. It's low quality, and I'm not sure that I'm happy about Brecon and Flagship pushing through such a proposal with such lack of oversight. Thank you.
Any other comments, any other questions? Okay, then it's for us to consider supporting the judicial review in principle and authorise officers to seek clarification on the judicial review process and associated costs, and for officers to bring the report back to full council following the planning decision. Do we have a proposal for that? Councillor Jeremy, and a second then Councillor Land. Are we all in favour? Thank you very much. Right, let's get through that bit. I now have to note the exclusion of press and public to consider resolving the pursuant bodies admission meetings. The press and public excluded the remaining items of the business on grounds of publicity would be prejudicial to public interest, but by reason of confidential nature of the business being discussed. We were not to exclude the press or public. I would be in favour. Is there anyone against? Okay, thank you very much. That's carried. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for attending this evening.